afternoon, and welcome to the Happy Half Hour. I'm Leigh Kubin, Master Certified Life Coach and Mindset Coach.
I'm Sandra Priestley, Leadership Coach and Feng Shui Practitioner. Hi.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
And happy Thanksgiving to all of my people here in the States.
Oh, well, this will be aired a few weeks later, but
I know, but it'll be a belated Thanksgiving.
It's the meaning of it.
Yes.
I think I told you this last time. Did I? I don't know that I am like watching very diligently what I eat, and it's probably and what I drink, and well, we'll get into that later about my diet.
Okay.
But today I'm drinking Earl Grey tea.
Oh.
And I try different teas every day. I don't know, like I really do like tea. So
yeah,
the half hour is like a tea time.
Yeah, we can have tea time.
It is a calming. I don't know. I love it. So, and my friend used to drink it.
I picked out what I was drinking today when I looked at the weather yesterday because it was supposed to be cold today. And we did a turkey trot this morning, which is just a little 5K. But it was supposed to be cold and rainy. And I was like prepping for it. Like I went and got some warm stuff to wear. And I was like, yeah, it was not cold. It was rainy, but it was like 63 degrees. So it was like, I walk out of the house this morning and I've got my gloves on and my hat on and my layers on. And I'm like, I'm ready for this cold, rainy turkey trot. And I walked outside and I'm like, wait a minute. What happened to the cold? So it was bearable. But anyway, I decided I was drinking hot chocolate. I got some sugar-free hot chocolate to drink, but it's not cold. So we're just going to pretend. But I'm drinking it in this mug that I found. We started shopping. So do you know who that is?
Willie Nelson.
Yes. And it says, when I started counting my blessings, my whole life turned around.
Oh.
And when I love Willie and I love his story.
Yeah.
And when I saw this, I was like, me too.
Oh.
So cheers.
And it's a nice big mug too.
Mm-hmm.
I love sayings on my mug, but on my mugs, and I like quotes, and I like, but mine says simplify. Life is good.
And that's like a prayer of Thanksgiving right there.
Right. I know.
Yeah. Because it is.
It is. You know what? I also above my door in my journey area. It says, I have this big, huge sign and it just says life is good. And the thing I can't stand, like I appreciate the humor, but I can't stand Life is Crap series,
No. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it drives me bonkers. I mean, I'm sarcastic as shit. So I can appreciate the sarcasm, but the worst thing to be reading all the time in your house or on your t-shirt or on your fucking mug or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, because that's what you're thinking about.
Yeah.
And manifesting.
Yeah.
So before we jump in and get to where we're getting, yesterday, Paul texted me at like 11 o'clock and he said, hey, can we have a date night tonight? Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that sounds perfect. So got off work, came home, changed real quick. We took Easton over to Eric's. Paul had picked him up from school. And he's like, let's go to Georgetown. And I was like, okay. Not really
far way away, or is that in
Leigh? No, it's where we love Georgetown. We go to market days. It's like 30 minutes away.
Okay.
So, but it's a square and it's just this cute, I don't even know how to explain it, but it feels good.
Okay.
So when we're on our way, I'm looking up our winery that we're a member of, and I'm like, yeah, they're closed. So let's just pick a restaurant and go. So he's driving around the square, and as he's pulling in, he's driving right past the winery, and I look over and I'm like, oh my God, they're open. So he said, jump out and go grab our glasses and I'll park and I'll meet you back there. So I did, because we didn't know when they were closing, because online said they were already closed. So I got our glasses, and he asked him what he wanted. He said he didn't care. And so I said, oh, I know what I'm getting us. And when I brought it to him, he goes, you got prosperity, didn't you?
Ah,
And I did. But so we continue to walk around. There's a guitar store that we've been shopping at for at least 10 years. We know the owner. And so we're walking down that way. And Ken is shutting the door and locking it and turning around, going to the back of the store. So Paul starts knocking on the glass, and Ken doesn't turn around. Well, I mean, we wanted to tell him Happy Thanksgiving, really was the whole purpose.
okay.
But he didn't turn around, and I'm like, Paul's like, I know he heard us. So he's knocking a little bit louder. Finally, he turns around. He's like, oh my gosh. So he harasses us for a minute. And then he goes, we're having a private concert in here. Come on in and join us. Now we're on our way to dinner. So there's part of us going, but we're going to eat. But then there's the other part going, well, what's inside?
Right.
So we walk in and we meet this cute kid and his fiance who has toured, and beautiful voice, great guitar player. And he's playing. And then all of a sudden, Ken's like, Paul, you play. So they're going back and forth playing.
Oh my gosh. Cool.
And it is this magical moment where I'm sitting here going, we were just coming to dinner. And then
initially, you were just going to go home and like get into some stretch pants.
correct.
You know what I mean? Like initially, if Paul didn't listen to his intuition,
Yes.
and go, hey, let's do this.
Yes. And if he didn't listen to his intuition to knock on the door, because I would have said, oh, he's closed, I don't want to disturb him.
Right. And he's probably used to people knocking on the door saying, can I just come in and buy this guitar?
Right.
Right. He didn't have time. How cool.
So anyway, we're sitting there and they're going back and forth playing and singing. And Ken goes, you couldn't have planned a night like this. This is so cool. Like, what are the odds of all of us being here in this space, enjoying this music? Like, and it hit me. We were all in the vortex.
Yeah.
We were listening and answering those nudges. And so it was just an amazing night. And to top it off, Ken's like, Paul, you've got to come play with us first Fridays of the month. Come join us. They have a concert the first Friday of every month.
Cool.
And which is just what he needs.
Oh.
So it was just like the perfect kickoff to the Thanksgiving holiday. And then getting up this morning and the 5K, and then the nap I took this afternoon, which went way too long, which is why I texted and said, I'm going to be 5 minutes late.
You know what I was just thinking as you were talking, though, about saying, you know, like we were all in the vortex and we were listening to the nudges and all this stuff. And I just pictured like the universe, God way up there in the clouds, almost like marionettes, you know, like the marionette.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like orchestrating everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we just listen, everything just works out like that. But sometimes we don't, and we fuck it all up.
Yeah. I don't want to do that. I want to stay home and be miserable.
Yeah. I mean, really, it just seems like everything was just like, it was just orchestrated. Like it was just all perfect. It was just like all fit together, right?
Because the other couple that was there, yes, the other couples that was there, they knocked on the door too before we did. That's who he was letting in when he was locking up.
That's odd.
That's what it's just bizarre. Like we all ended up there by accident, but I don't think it was an accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. So that was my week.
My gosh.
I know.
I had the coolest conversation today. So I have a friend who I've known for, I don't know, 25 years.
Mhm.
And we used to work in corrections together, and we've moved away for like 13 years ago. I think we separated, like she moved to a different province than me. And so we both love coffee. And so we've started having coffee Zoom chats, just hanging out,
Oh.
right? And we both have adult children. And, we often say, who knew this would be tougher? Like,
Yeah.
who knew we would beg for diapers again?
They
Like,
keep this a secret.
right. Like, honestly, I know it felt exhausting at the time, but it was not as stressful. It was tiring,
Yeah.
but it wasn't as scary.
Yeah.
It wasn't as like heart-wrenching. It was just tiring. And so anyway, we have these conversations, and we just, catch up, and we just talk about life. And she said, so she still works for the government in Canada, and I, of course, left last year. And she said, I talk about you all the time at work. And I'm like, really? And she said, and I always say, I'm so proud of her, but also maybe she's fucking crazy. And I didn't take offense at all. And she didn't mean it to be offensive.
No.
It was like the best conversation starter almost, right? Because it was, and I took it as a compliment, really. And I said, yeah, like, and I really thought, welcome to my fucking mind.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because that's what this feels like. And it does feel sometimes like, I'm not sure, like, I'm so proud of me, and holy shit, maybe this was the wrong decision. This is so amazing. This feels like it's alignment. It feels like where I'm supposed to go. And whoa, what if I'm wrong?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I wrote this
Because
post
people
about
do
it.
look at us like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, she said, you got bigger balls than me. And I'm like, yeah, I've heard that lots.
Mm-hmm.
Or less brains. It's like bigger balls or less brains.
One of the two.
One or the other. I don't know. We'll find out later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stay tuned for next
Stay
episode.
tuned.
But I really thought about that. Like, one of my coaches, she would say that success feels like one step in gratitude and the other in desire. And that's like the walk of manifestation, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I get that, and that sounds lovely, and it sounds beautiful. But for me, it feels like jumping out of an airplane, hoping my chute opens,
Some days, yeah.
realizing, fuck, I didn't check it. And also, I hate heights.
Yeah.
It's exactly how it feels, right? Like, it's
But knowing
exhilarating.
you're always in the right place at the right time and everything works out.
Right. And you just have to trust.
Yeah. But sometimes you should check.
And
I mean, especially out of an airplane. I don't know.
I feel like I would not, I seriously get a little dizzy on our back deck because I hate heights so badly that my back deck is a little bit too high.
Oh.
I know. So this is nothing.
So you're not going zip lining with me. Is that what you're saying?
I may.
Okay.
But I will be the pansy of the group. Like, I may, but I will probably, I'll feel that fear for sure.
Yeah.
I bought for Cam's 50th birthday, I bought him a jump out of an airplane.
Oh, has he done it yet?
Not yet. He couldn't get a hold of them. So I don't know. I may have wasted my money. But I don't know what happened. Like, they're still in business, but they're not calling him back. So I'm not sure. But yeah, he went to, and he just hasn't yet. He was going to go with my daughter, but he had to wait until she turned 18. And this year she turned 18. But yeah, he couldn't get a hold of them. Too late, maybe. But still, he is so danged excited about it.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a rush.
Not so much. Like, not at all. I will do crazy things. I have, but
And you'll
no,
quit your job and shit.
I will quit my job, walk away from 6 figures a
Yeah.
year. And
An airplane, scary.
the back deck, too high.
Oh,
What if I fall? The whole, I don't know, 20 feet. I could probably land. Like, I don't know. Anyway, but it was such a good conversation. And like, I don't know, I just love those friendships where they can tell you the honest truth of what they think. And you're somehow, even though it might not be that complimentary, you're somehow like, oh, I totally get.
yeah.
You meant it as so much compliment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah,
and how you could have seen it if you were in a different spot.
Oh yeah.
Those lenses that we have sometimes, and that we take offense by everything instead of cutting that bullshit out and looking at it really what's being said, and without all of our filters in it, making it mean things it doesn't mean, and getting the message out of it that's going to help us really shift.
Yeah. I often will say to people like who first meet me or who are working with me, and they'll say something and then all of a sudden it'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't even really remember what they said. Probably, like 52, like I'm 51, but I am losing, I don't know. The unimportant stuff is just it's not important.
We don't have time for it anymore.
To keep, yeah.
And
so, but they'll say, oh my gosh, I hope you weren't offended. And I'm like, A, no, I didn't remember you said it. And B, it would take a lot to offend me. And I don't know, I thought about this and I thought, I wonder if it is all the mindset work that I do and that I teach, or if it's because I was a parole officer. I think it's like a combo of both, because you just get, and I worked in a bar, right? So I think it's maybe a combination of all of them, or everything.
And we're 50 now, so we have that fuck it thing where we're like, I got time for that.
That's also true, and I just, but I also really have embodied this idea of like, your opinion gets to be your opinion, but judgment is not truth. And so whatever you think, I mean, good for you, but I'm going to think something different. I'm going to choose something different.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't take offense, but it was the most beautiful statement, because I know she made it in this like most complimentary way.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a good, rich discussion, because we talked about then like that everyone has their own path. And I would never judge anyone for not having their own business, or, like, because for her, I can see she has amazing gifts. Like, holy, one of the things she does the best is plan parties. I hate that crap. Like, I would pay someone to do it. I do not want to do this, but it is like a dang gift of hers. And, I always say, like, if she wanted to leave her job, she could do this so well, like so well. But she doesn't want to. She likes to do it for fun. And she also likes to be an employee. And her and her husband, they have a couple of businesses, like side businesses. But she said, like, I'm tired of thinking about it all the time. And I just want to go and do something and work for someone, come home, and then like relax. And we had this really rich discussion about just like, we all get our own path.
Yeah. And they're not all supposed to be the same.
Right. And it doesn't mean that mine is more important. And it doesn't mean that hers is better or worse, or, like, and it really made me think, like, do people think that I judge them for not taking a risk?
Not your business.
I don't at all.
Right.
I don't at all, because I think that all we need to do, all that's important is that we're happy. Mm-hmm. All that's important is that we just like listen to our own inner guidance and do what feels good for us.
Yeah. Because
And-
we all know.
Right.
We all know.
For
Sometimes
us.
we
And
don't
it
know
might,
that we know, but it's all in us.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when someone comes to me and they say, I fucking hate my job, I can't stand it, then we have a different discussion.
Mm-hmm.
She actually likes her job.
Yeah.
So I would never judge that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we're meant to do that, and we're meant to create the amazing shifts and the use our magic for working for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, man, I love the rich discussions, like the philosophical discussions and the deep conversations.
Yeah.
I really hate surface.
Because we all relate, right? It
Yeah.
might not be on the same topic. Like we
Right.
might not have the same struggle,
Right.
but we can relate with another area of our life, whether it's coaching a client or a friend or a family member. But you can, if you really stop and look at them with eyes to see where they're at, then you can see how you do the same thing in another area. And then there's compassion, like, oh, I totally get this. Instead of, you stupid fuck, I got this area of my life cleaned up. Why don't you get it cleaned up too?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, we all have areas.
We all, and they don't stop, Sandra.
It's like we all have Monica's closet somewhere. You know what I mean? Somewhere in our lives, we have a Monica Geller closet where
Yes.
all that shit is stored. We
Yes.
open the fucking
We
door.
don't want anyone to see it. Yes. But
yeah,
if we could all approach people throughout our day with that understanding of, this struggle is no different than your struggle, so don't judge them.
exactly.
And they're doing the best they can. They are trying to figure it out, and their way doesn't have to be your way. There are 7 billion people on the planet. There's a bunch of ways.
Right. Well, and every single time that even if I'm business coaching, I'm giving this advice. We don't need to look around. We just need to find where your gifts are and find your way. If I'm talking to a parent, because I often am I assist parents with as an advocate for dyslexic children.
Yeah.
And so, and I don't know how I fell into that one, but I love it. I'm very passionate about it.
It seems like a perfect fit.
Right. And
Yeah.
so when I talk to those parents and they're saying, the school is doing this and the school is doing this, and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. But what we need to do is find, where are they strong? And then we work with that. And we're going to need to be the instructors of the teachers. Sorry, teachers, but parents are the experts in their kids.
Mm-hmm. And they have to be their advocate.
And they have to, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I'm doing the same thing. I'm going, where are your strengths? Where is your kid's strengths? Like, how can we use that? With my son, for example, he does not need to study the playbook. I don't know how he does that, but he can look at it and know it. Whereas other kids have to study and study and study and study the playbooks, like pictures. I don't even understand, I don't even understand the positions, let alone all of the circles and things, right? Lines, but he does, it's just automatic. So how, I used to say to him, well, how can we take that skill and use it with notes, like take graphic notes,
Mm-hmm.
or visual note taking, I think it's called, like draw pictures, draw lines, drawing different colors. Like, that's how you transition from that strength to studying.
Yeah.
And if it's business coaching, it's like that. If it's dyslexia coaching, it's like that. It doesn't matter. If it's feng shui, I mean, take a look. You and I are both feng shui practitioners.
Mm-hmm.
My office has dark blue walls with bright things. Your office or your area that you sit in front of looks totally different with lighter colors in the background. And what if we look the same?
Right.
We can't. We have to have our personality. We have to do what feels right to us. Like we all are so different. And that's, I think, the gift is really like knowing yourself.
And appreciating that in others. And
Right.
not being like, you need to be like me for you
Yeah.
to be acceptable to me.
Right.
Like, why can't we celebrate the differences that we see? Because there's so much to learn.
Or why could you imagine if we all just continued on the path that we were on when we were kids before we went to school? Right? When nothing mattered. But it's like when we go to school, we're expected to assimilate. We're expected to be like everyone else.
Oh my gosh, I have to talk about this.
Learn like everyone else. And it just like dulls our magic. Okay, go for it.
In the Amazon cart last week, what's today? Thursday. We got it Tuesday. Maybe it was last weekend. Lily had put stuff in the Amazon cart for Easton that she wanted for Christmas. And I saw Elf on the Shelf was in there, so I just ordered it. And then we get the Elf on the Shelf. I didn't have that for our kids because it wasn't a thing.
Yeah, no.
So I didn't really know much about it. But then I'm like, okay, I got the Elf on the Shelf. Like, how do we handle this and give it to him so we can put the elf up?
Yeah.
So she starts telling him, yeah, you can't touch the elf. He'll lose his magic. And he's not a toy. And he's here to watch you. And he's going to report back to Santa and let him know if you're good or bad. Because if you're bad, Santa's not going to bring you anything. And then she reads him the Elf on the Shelf book. And I'm listening to this and I'm like, this is the most awful, awful fucking message to give a 2.5-year-old. There is a secret elf in the house running around, watching everything you do, reporting back to a big man that can either bring you gifts or deny you gifts. And if you don't do everything I want you to do or whatever to be good,
yeah,
the old man will say none for you. And I'm just like, oh my, and she's like, Mom, you told us Santa was watching all the time. And I'm like, I know, but I didn't put an elf in the house. But it has upset me in a way that I'm like, I don't want him to have that. He's not my kid.
Yeah.
She's not doing anything to hurt him. This is not any declaration on her as a mother. It's just how different I am than I used to be. Because like Logan was always angry with us. Why would you lie to me about Santa Claus? Why would you tell me he's real when he's not? And I'm never, ever, ever teaching my kids that. And now I get it.
Yeah.
Like it, now I'm like, because Easton doesn't ever need to think that there is someone watching and keeping score. And if you want this, like you got to, he needs to be good.
Yeah.
Because that's who he is. And because that's what he wants. And that's what feels good. Not because he's afraid of some retaliation.
Well, and retaliation for making a quote unquote mistake because he's a kid and that's what kids are supposed to do. That's what we all are supposed to do.
Yes.
One of my favorite concepts from Sarah Blakely, I mean, I got a lot, but one of the things that she used to say was that her dad would say to her, she would go to school and she would, try out for the volleyball team, let's say, and let's say she makes it. She comes home and says, hey, I made the volleyball team. And he goes, great. What'd you fail at though? And because he celebrated that she tried something and failed at it. She tried something beyond her capacity to stretch herself.
Yeah. Well, that's how you grow.
And then all of a sudden she's like, yeah, I'm not scared to fail. Like his failure was something that was celebrated in her house. I purposefully failed my, tried my math test, failed that, high five, it's not like that, but it was like, What did you try so hard at and you failed? Good for you. You're pushing yourself beyond what you know. That's awesome.
Yes.
And they celebrated it every day, I think she said. Like,
yeah.
How amazing. And why don't we do that?
That's where we grow. It's like when we got home from our date night last night, we're like, let's play pool.
Yeah.
Paul took this shot that was not makeable. Like it was not, like I'm looking at it going,
yeah.
He almost made the shot. Like it was like a hair on the edge. And we were like, he failed the shot. But were we upset? Yeah. We were like, that is the fucking coolest thing I've ever seen. Oh my God. Exactly. And that's how we learn in every single thing we do. And when we start celebrating those things, instead of going, fuck, I failed. It's like, look at how close I got. Look at that.
I just took us on a really weird turn away from Santa Claus, but
no.
I was just thinking, whoa, how did we get here?
And yeah, but let's wrap this up because we're out of time. So go ahead. Last thought.
Well, I was just going to say, it is so true that we create these, we have these like magical little kids, and then we try to control them in a way that's so damaging. Like, what if we just let them be? Like, experience life and experience failure and not judge them for, making mistakes, because that's what we came here to do.
Yep. And that is how we learn. And you would rather them learn those mistakes young while you're there to help guide them.
Yeah.
Than when they get out on their own and then they don't know what the fuck to do.
Exactly. You know what's interesting though is the best elf on the shelf scenarios are the ones where the elf is bad. Like this is the whole thing, like the elf is like pulling all the toilet paper out of the roll, or like shooting, I don't know, like marshmallows, or you know what I mean?
I think I'm going to make the elf bad when she goes to bed every night.
Yes.
I think that's what I'm going to do.
That's what you need to do, and make it funny. Like, I mean, I've got to.
Easton, look at this elf. He's a naughty, naughty elf. Don't follow his lead.
Yes, I know. So cool. I have seen some of the coolest, like it just seems fun. I would be the person that would forget
it was fun until I read the book, and then I was mortified.
Yeah.
Because I did not like the message at all.
Wow.
But
now you can change it up.
And I can be a little trickster and make him a naughty elf.
Pranks, yeah.
Okay, well, it is time for us to go. I'm going to go have my steak dinner, my Thanksgiving steak. Nice. But I hope you have a great week. And thank you so much, Sandra. I appreciated this. This was good today. And we will see you guys next Thursday on the Happy Half Hour. Bye.
Bye.